Hello everybody. In this video, we will learn how to create Spring Boot application. I have an option to create new project here. So when I click on this, I'll get a dialog to create a new project. In the left hand side panel, you can see the variety of application that you can create. Here I'm selecting Spring Boot. In the right hand side, you can see few options to select what kind of application and the language packaging mechanism that you need to use. Here all the informations are derived from this root URL. Okay, so if I open this up, okay, you could see something like this, Spring Initializer. So we have a project and we have a language, we have an boot versions and so on. So this, when you compare with IntelliJ, the options are similar to the one we have in the browser as well. So we'll proceed with the IntelliJ itself. Now I will leave this name as it is. Here the language is Java as it is. I'm going to change the type. So I'll select Maven for dependency management. So here the group have provided com.othla, and I'll leave everything as it is. Okay, the same is being populated here in the package name. When it comes to JDK, you can choose much higher version than 17. Here I have selected 17. If you do not possess that particular version, you can download it from here. And here the version can be specified and the package is jar. I will leave everything as it is and I will click on next. In this window, we can select the Spring Boot version that we would like to work upon. Here 3.3.4 is the default that is already pre-populated. So that is because when you click on this drop down, you could see there are most of them are snapshots and one is M3. If you look up this meaning of this snapshot, so these are not the final builds, meaning they are not preferred for the production. They are not production releases. So 3.3.4 is the one is meant for the application development and the production releases. Here in the below, you can see the dependencies, a variety of dependencies that we can add even before we start building the application. So for us, in this particular video, we are not adding much of them. So just I'll add Spring Web. Okay, the Spring Web is widely used dependency for microservices and even for MVC. Especially for our purpose, Spring Web will provide Tomcat inbuilt. So that is the only purpose we are going to use this Spring Web. Along with this Spring Web, I'll expand ops and I'll select Spring Boot Actuator. So this actuator is mainly used for monitoring purpose. Now whatever the dependency that we select, we can see in our right hand side panel for the confirmation. So if everything looks okay and satisfied, go and click on create. So this will download the dependencies from the internet. You can see I will load a Maven project. So this will load all the dependencies for me. Okay, here you can see the JDK is being loaded, the Maven dependency are being loaded, and all the files are being indexed. We have a help file loaded. You can click upon this. This will take you to official documentation and go through in details. I'll close this file. Now I'll open form.xml. This is where the dependency that we have selected during the project creation is being reflected here. So the dependencies contains multiple dependency tags. So each dependency represents a single jar. So here Actuator is being added, starter web is being added, and the test will come even if you do not add anything. So this is a form that gets generated based upon the selection that we make. So I'll expand these external libraries. So here you can see the Java 17 is being loaded and all the dependency of Maven it is being loaded. Okay, to test, so I'll just type Tomcat. You can see the Tomcat embedded server is being already available in our application. I'll expand this src. Here I'll go to main. In the main I have two main folder. One is resources and Java. This Java contains all your configurations, Java configurations, specifically services or business logics, all goes in here. And the resources contains the property files, the build property files, images, static files, and templates, or view templates to say. Okay, so now we'll focus more on this particular file, demo application. Okay, so this is the starting point of the complete app. So this annotation specifically classifies this class as a Spring Boot app. Okay, this is the starting point. Okay, this Spring application.run, what this does is this runs and launches the app, bootstrapping necessary configuration and the application context, and along with the embedded server for any. Okay, so this annotation in itself, this will look for all the beans that are need to be created in the application context. It will scan and pick them, and it will also detect the configuration and it auto configures. Okay, that is much about this particular file. Now we will go and start. Now we'll click on start. So our application is starting. You can see the logs completed initialization in 2 seconds. Here you can see Tomcat is started and initialized at the port 8080, and if you remember correctly, we have added Actuator for our monitoring purpose, and it is currently by default exposing one endpoint. Okay, we will verify this now. I'll open the browser. Okay, now I'll say localhost 8080, enter. So this in itself proves that our application is running in localhost port 8080 Tomcat. As we have added Actuator, okay, I'll go to Actuator base. Okay, if you enter, so this is the Actuator response. This is the URL or the endpoint that is being exposed as shown here. So one endpoint is being exposed under the path Actuator. So you can see one endpoint. So this, if we dial up the health and check, it just returns a simple JSON with the status of the application saying it is up. Okay, I'll refresh. It's still just one. So what I'll do, I'll go to my property file in order to open or expose all the endpoints beneath this Actuator. Okay, to do that I need to type management. Okay, this will give you the bunch of properties under Actuator. So this web.exposure.include, here you can type health. Okay, if you need to expose only the specific monitoring tool, okay, like health or environment. For now we will expose everything, so I'll keep it star and I'll save it. Okay, then I will restart the application because this is a major change in the application. I must reload the application. So you can restart from here, clicking on this icon or this icon, or you can simply stop this and start the application again. Now you can see exposing 14 endpoints. Earlier it was 1, now it is plus 13. Now I'll go back to my Safari and I'll refresh this, and you could see all the available endpoints under Actuator. Now I'll select env. Okay, /env and click on enter. So this particular endpoint gives you the output of all the system variables, IntelliJ level variables, and finally the application level variables. So when you go back to our application, here you can see the application properties. Here the management endpoint exposure include. Okay, you can simply copy this. Okay, come back to Safari and find this endpoint. You can see the management endpoints exposure include is also mentioned, but its values are hidden. Okay, so this is how the actuator helps us in monitoring and verifying the value that the configuration is actually correct in the production, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is all for this particular video. In the next video, we'll talk about building the controller which listens to certain endpoint, just like the actuator. So we have a /actuator /env or help. So similarly, we will have our own controller which gives out something in the browser or the Postman app. Until then, see you.